That's why Miss Gillette is doing this. My attorney already told me Miss Gillette does not like me. That comes
Right
from Miss
now,
Gillette to my attorney.
right
That's
now,
a conflict of interest. And on the record and for the record, and let the record show.
okay, Mr. Perez Beal.
On the record, on and for the record, and let the record show, I have the right
Okay,
to
now
face
hold
my
on, hold
accuser,
on.
and the accuser
Stop,
must be a
stop,
living man or
stop.
woman. Therefore, I move to dismiss the case entirely. Must my accuser be a living man?
This sovereign citizen appears in court today on a trespassing charge, and of course he immediately pulls out the classic "I'm a living man" argument, acting like that's somehow going to get him off the hook. He genuinely seems to believe the court is part of some massive conspiracy designed to lock him up, which honestly just makes the whole situation even more ridiculous. Still, it turns out to be pretty entertaining to watch, especially because of how the judge handles it. This judge is extremely strict and wastes no time completely shutting the guy down after he disrespects the court. I'm curious to hear what you think about this case, so drop your thoughts in the comments below. Now let's jump right in and watch the moment this judge snaps and absolutely destroys this sovereign citizen for acting like a fool live in court.
Kansas versus Antonio Manuel Perez Beal. Are you Antonio Manuel Perez Beal?
Yes, sir, I am. Yes, Your Honor, I am.
All right. Mr. Perez Beal, do you have an attorney?
No, I do not. But I do believe I have the right to face my accuser. And on the record and for the record, and let the record show.
Okay, Mr. Perez Beal, this is your first appearance. You are charged in count 1 with criminal trespass, a Class B non-person misdemeanor. A Class B non-person misdemeanor is punishable up to 6 months in the county jail and a fine not to exceed $1,000. Do you understand what you're charged with?
On the record, on and for the record, and let the record show, I have the right to face my accuser, and the accuser must be a living man or woman. Therefore, I move to dismiss the case entirely.
Well, that's not going to be done. Mr. Perez Beal, I asked you a question. Do you understand what you're charged with?
No, I do not.
All right. What is it that you don't understand about the criminal trespass charge?
I don't know why I'm being charged with a criminal trespass. I have a picture of me and my children over there on November 23rd or 27th. I'd have to go back and date it. My livestock, please let me finish, Your Honor. My livestock come up missing. Whenever that man, I had that leased. Whenever that man come down here, my hot wire come up missing. The fence that divided our two properties. He cut a hole in his fence. I have a witness who is a neighbor stating that he's seen a young man and a young woman out there removing that hot wire. I've never once had a problem. He showed up, our hot wire come up missing, and a hole got in the fence. Whenever that happened, I called one of your deputies, Deputy Joe Love. He showed up to the scene.
All right, Mr. Perez.
I have a right to look for my missing livestock.
Mr. Perez Beal,
I am filing. I'm filing an interlocutory appeal.
You need to stop talking for a moment. This is a first appearance.
Well, this is wrong.
Sir?
I will just never understand why these sovereign citizens don't simply get a lawyer if they don't understand the law. How do you walk into a courtroom, stand in front of a judge, and decide that the best strategy is to argue with them? What exactly is the thought process behind that? These people genuinely seem to believe that if they just yell loudly enough, the entire legal system will somehow magically bend to their will, and that's just insane to me. This guy is basically treating the courtroom like it's an open mic night, rambling nonsense as if he's about to deliver the hottest legal take of the century. Now, since it's his first appearance, I won't go too hard on him yet, but come on, at least let the judge speak. The judge is showing far more patience than I ever would, because if it were me, I'd already be slamming that gavel like I was trying to break a world record.
This is a first appearance. At that time, what I do is I go over the charges, what the potential penalties are, and try to explain to you your rights. Please do not interrupt any further. Do not go off on tangents. I'll have some questions for you that you'll need to address. First of all, in regards to your rights, you have the right to a trial, either to the court or if you request in writing a request for a jury trial. At a trial, the state has the burden of proof. The burden of proof in a criminal case is beyond a reasonable doubt. At a trial, you have the right to be represented by an attorney or to represent yourself. You understand you have the right to, at a trial, to cross-examine the state's witnesses and to call witnesses on your own behalf. You may use the court subpoena power to be sure that other witnesses appear. Do you understand these rights?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, at a trial, beyond the right to cross-examining the state's witnesses and calling witnesses on your own behalf, you have the right to either testify or not testify as you see fit. If you choose not to testify, then that cannot be considered against you into determining if you're guilty or not guilty.
Must my accuser be a living man or woman?
Okay, Mr. Perez-Beal, I'm not sure where you're getting this.
The Sixth Amendment.
All right, this is the first appearance, as I've indicated before. Now, if you wish to be represented by an attorney, you can hire one or you can apply to the court if you choose.
Let's take this to trial. I want a jury trial.
All right, first of all, let's answer the question about the attorney. Are you going to represent yourself or are you going to hire an attorney?
I will, at this point, I'll represent myself. And if I have the fine.
You blocked out, Mr. Perez-Beal.
Can you hear me now?
And now I can hear you. The last thing I heard before it blacked out was in regards to you're going to be representing yourself and that you
I will represent myself unless I'm financially able to hire an attorney. But last time I spoke to my attorney, Mrs. Mary Ann Shirley, she told me that Judge Jill Gillette does not like me. That's where all this is coming from.
First of all, Ms. Gillette is not the judge. I am.
I said
you've been before me before.
Yes, sir. I know.
All right. So are you still on probation?
Yes, sir. As far as I know.
Well, if you're on probation and convicted of a new offense, that'll be a violation of that probation.
That's why Miss Gillette is doing this. My attorney already told me Miss Gillette does not like me. That comes from Miss Gillette to my attorney. That's a conflict of interest.
So basically, Jill Gillette is the county prosecutor, and if this sovereign citizen is actually telling the truth, I can kind of understand why he's frustrated here. But at the same time, why is he acting like a lawyer is his worst enemy? The court-appointed attorney doesn't even know him. They're not sitting at home plotting against him. They literally just have a job to do, that's it. It's not some personal vendetta. But instead of using basic common sense and getting someone who actually knows what they're doing, he'd rather fumble his own case and scream about his rights while not even understanding what those rights actually are. This is just classic sovereign citizen logic, making things 10 times harder for absolutely no reason. And the worst part is that when he inevitably loses this case, he'll probably act shocked and claim the system is rigged against him instead of admitting that maybe, just maybe, refusing real legal help wasn't the genius move he thought it was.
Right now, you don't have an attorney on this case. Is Ms. Mary Ann Shirley are you going to hire her on this case?
I will talk to her, but Gillette knows what she's doing. She likes tearing families apart. What happened when Karma finally
Mr. Perez-Beal, you've indicated that you want a trial. And you also indicated that you wanted to have a trial by jury. To do that, you have to file a written request for a misdemeanor.
I have to file a written request?
if you are going to be representing yourself, you need to understand there's disadvantages in that. One disadvantage is I don't believe you have the training that an attorney has.
No, but I also don't have everything I make's going to try and keep our home and stay afloat right now.
Right. As I indicated before, if you wish to have an attorney but cannot afford an attorney, you can apply to the court. If you meet the financial guidelines, then I would appoint an attorney to represent you. If that may not be an attorney that you select.
I will talk to Miss Marianne Shirley.
All right. So if you're going to talk with an attorney, typically what we do is we schedule another hearing to give you that opportunity. And we call that a control hearing or a status hearing. Do you wish to do that, or do you wish to go ahead and schedule a trial?
If we schedule a trial and I show up with an attorney, will that be allowed?
Well, it would, but if you're asking for a jury trial, there's certain things that you have to do. Right now, you're representing yourself. That can be, you need to understand that the disadvantage that people have by doing that sometimes is more than others, but you will be required to follow the rules as you are an attorney if you're representing yourself. Most people don't know what those rules are and so forth. So that presents a real disadvantage at times. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if you're going to apply for an attorney or talk with Ms. Shirley, what I'll do is schedule a control hearing. That is not waiving your right to a trial. All right. If that control hearing or status conference, which we'll set in about 30 days, if you still wish to have a trial, we'll schedule that. We can schedule for either in person, either before the court, or you can be represented. If you wish to have a jury trial, you need to have your request made in writing for that, and we would schedule a trial by jury. Now, there was a hearing that was scheduled on December 13th, and you did not appear at that time. I issued a bench warrant, and you had been served with a summons. Now, later that day, you contacted the clerk's office, and then you did surrender yourself and posted a $5,000 cash or surety bond, and that bond is still in effect. All right?
Yes, Your Honor.
So
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you guys just catch that? Does Sam Dowie actually think the judge was talking to him? Dude, that honestly had me dying. At first I was convinced this guy was a full-on sovereign citizen because he pulled out the whole living man argument right at the start, which is usually a dead giveaway. But now that he's been talking and actually showing some level of respect, like calling the judge sir, I can kind of see where he's coming from. I still think he's being pretty foolish here and definitely came across the wrong way, especially with how he first presented himself in court. That wasn't the right approach at all. Maybe he just panicked and started spewing nonsense, who knows? I still think he might be a sovereign citizen, maybe just half of one, like a diet version at least. But to be fair, at least he's considering getting an attorney, which already shows more self-awareness than most sovereign citizens ever have. I'm not sure though, let me know what you guys think. Do you think he's still a sovereign citizen or not? Personally, I still think he is, but I could be wrong here.
You need to be sure that you appear as directed for later hearings. Now, let's go ahead and schedule this for a control hearing to give you an opportunity, Mr. Perez-Beal, to speak with an attorney of your choice or to apply for an attorney. Please do not wait until the last minute to do that hearing, if you're going to apply. If you're going to apply, do so in the next few days. If you're able to hire an attorney of your choice, that's fine. Then the court-appointed attorney would be released from dealing with the case. All right. Now, January 31st at 3 p.m.
January 31st at 3 p.m.
Okay, Mr. Presbiel, you're breaking up a little bit
And
on your connection.
can you hear me fine now?
Well, it comes and goes. Right now, yes, I can hear you.
Can you hear
Now we can't hear you.
me fine now?
There's also a time delay. I'll see your lips move, and then we'll hear the sound. We call it lag, or I call it lag. Mr. Presbiel, now you're frozen, and we haven't been able to hear you for the last 30 seconds or so.
I'd just like to make a statement.
Well, you've made some statements, but
Can you hear
right
me now?
now we're scheduling January 31st.
How about now? Are you able to hear me?
Now I was able to hear you. You interrupt me, but our next court hearing is January the 31st at 3 p.m. That will be a Zoom hearing. You understand? Do you have that? Mr. Presbiel, did you hear the date?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Can you repeat the date so I know that you've got it, please?
January 31st at 3 p.m.
Correct. Because
By Zoom.
that'll be a Zoom hearing, but I want you to appear at the sheriff's office so that we don't have this problem here. If you have an attorney and the attorney would prefer to have you there at their office to do the hearing, then that's fine too. So if Ms. Shirley is going to be your attorney, you hire her, and she wants you to be but you need to be at one of those two places, either the attorney's office or at the sheriff's office where they have the equipment, and we can be relatively sure that you're going to have a good connection. Because in this hearing, we haven't had a good connection.
Yes, sir.
All right. That's the things that we needed to cover for today. So this matter will be adjourned, and we'll see you on January 31st at 3. So Mr. Presbiel's case is adjourned at this time. All right. Next matter we'll take up is. All right. I need you to mute him. Aaron.
What a way to wrap up this hearing. I'm guessing this sovereign citizen is finally realizing that yelling about being a living man isn't going to get him anywhere, and now he's about to switch things up by actually hiring an attorney. I really hope he does, because if I were in his position, being on probation and potentially facing time if he's convicted, it would definitely be in his best interest to get a lawyer. Honestly though, it's kind of funny how that works, right? It's almost like the legal system is complicated and people who spend years studying the law actually know what they're doing. If you're a sovereign citizen watching this, take notes. I'm kind of proud of this guy, though. He did change his approach and started calling the judge sir, so compared to most of the sovereign citizens we've seen, he's actually one of the better ones. The judge telling him to go to the sheriff's office for the Zoom hearing was pretty hilarious too. The judge knew exactly what he was doing with that. If the guy is sitting in a government building surrounded by law enforcement, he's going to be on his best behavior. But I'm really curious to hear what you guys think. I still believe this dude is a sovereign citizen, but I know a lot of you guys can be pretty harsh when it comes to that label. Let me know if you think he's a real sovereign citizen or if he just got some bad advice and ran with it. At first I thought he was just throwing out all the classic buzzwords, but now that he's willing to get a lawyer, maybe there's some hope. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching, I really appreciate it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and take care everybody.